Yeah, it goes everybody, because they will continue on the game called Intensive Scare Unit. Where were we? I don't fucking know because this game doesn't have the decency enough to should have given me a fucking save option. Why is the save option such a fucking foreign feature for this fucking game? Let's see where were we? 326, 320. Why is everything 320? What the fuck do I do? Okay. Is this it? I hope it is. The room was eerily silent now, except for the faint sound of the heart monitor's flatline, which was still ringing in my ears. Mrs. Salvi was gone? Wait. I did all this effort to save her and she's dead now? What a waste. Stray had already left to write down the death certificate, leaving the nurse tonight to prepare her body for the morgue. I tried not to think too much, we just wanted to finish her job as fast as possible. But then I heard it. Faint sobbing. At first I thought it was my own nerves. I thought I said mum. Nerves playing tricks on me. But when I glanced at the nurse, her eyes were wide, mouth agape. She heard it too. Do you hear that? Yeah. We tried to ignore it, focusing on our task, but the sound wouldn't stop. The sobbing grew louder, echoing through the small ward. It felt like it was coming from everywhere, nowhere, all at once. As I reached to adjust Mrs. Salvi's sheet, something caught my eye. A small, crumpled photo peeking out of her gown. I gently pulled it out, smoothing the edges. It was a picture of her with two younger adults, likely her children. Smiling, happy. Why weren't they here to say goodbye? I stood there for a moment, frozen, clutching the photo. I couldn't leave it. Not here, not with her, in the cold of the morgue. So cold that the music sounds like it's also deteriorating too. Let's give it back to her family later. The nurse nodded, her eyes distant, the sound still haunting the air as we finished. The room's eerie silence pressed in on us again as we moved our body out, but I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was still crying. Was it Mrs. Salvi's spirit? The bells ring again. Just 110, alright. Press the intercom button on room 110. Room 110, what's going on? My husband is in pain, doctor. Please come immediately. I hurried to room 110. Mr. Muliano lay in bed, his face contorted in agony, beads of sweat glistening on his forehead. He's not fully conscious yet. I rushed to his side and quickly checked his vitals. Hang in there, sir. I'm going to give you something for the pain. Oh, thank goodness you arrived quickly. Yes, ma'am. As I administered the medication, I noticed something. Mrs. Moliano stood at the foot of the bed, a serene smile on her face. But her feet weren't touching the ground. Oh, great. Yeah, I knew it. I knew she was a ghost. Jump scare. I wanted to scream, but my body froze and my hand was still administering the meds. Jump scare. Get ready, fellas. I quickly finished my job and god damned it, and the syringe fell to the floor. As I bent down to retrieve it, I was face to face with her feet. I wasn't just dreaming. She wasn't just standing there, she was floating. Oh boy. Boom. Wait, no jump scare? The meds are in his system now. He should be alright. I'm just gonna go. Now. Her smile widened. Did you leave because you're done or because you've noticed? Me. The room felt a lot colder. The shadows deepened in the corners as if they were reaching out to grasp me. Somehow there were cracks in the wall. I couldn't move a muscle. Mrs. Moliano, I think you should... Do you see me? Panic surged through me, and I turned to the door, desperate to escape. I have to go. Run. Is she gonna come after us or something? With one last frantic glance at Mr. Moliano, whose pain expression mirrored my own horror, I bolted from the room and slammed the door shut behind me. As I stumbled back into the oddly darkened hallway, I suddenly heard it, a soft whispering voice that sent chills racing down my spine. Mrs. Moliano. Oh, there you are. Scary dude. You should know. One of you is just like me. My heart stopped. I skipped, or is it stopped or skipped? The darkness hides secrets, my dear. One of you is pretending to be alive, just like I once was. Yeah, it's a trio, I know. It's a trio. Slowly shuffled back toward the nurse's station, trembling. Who could it be? The nurse? Satria? Yeah, it's Satria. I'm alive, aren't I? Or maybe Mrs. Maliano was just trying to scare me. The bells ring again. Um, no 106. I pressed the intercom button on room 110. Room 110, what's going on? Dr. Elia, can you check my husband? One moment, please. I'll be right there, even though you're a ghost. When I stepped in, the familiar unsettling sight of Mrs. Maliano greeted me. Only this time, she looked ghostly. Her feet were still completely off the floor, just hovering. I swallowed hard, pushing the fear and unease down as best as I could. Your husband's vitals seem stable and he's recovering well. Thank God. I was so afraid. I don't think I could ever leave him. Her voice quivered, and for a moment, I could almost forget she was a ghost. It was just a woman clinging to the memory of the man she loved. I died of cancer just 3 months ago. It wasn't quick, it dragged on, took everything from me. I didn't think he could ever recover from that, and we don't have any children to accompany him when I'm gone. I stood there, silent, unsure of what to say. We wanted kids, but when it became clear that it was going to happen, I thought he would leave. But he never did. He said he married me for me, not for children. That's what he told me. Oh, my dearest, when I got sick, he took care of me every single day. Never complained, never once made me feel like a burden. He was always my rock, right until the very end. And now, he's all alone. I should have been there for him, but instead he's left alone, without me. All I want now is to repay him for everything, just to make sure he's alright. That's all I need before I can finally let go. As I stood there, still trying to process everything, Mrs. Maliano's ghostly figure floated a little closer. Doctor, can you promise me something? Promise me you'll make sure he gets better. I hesitated. There was no way I could make that kind of promise. Healing wasn't something I could guarantee. I can't promise he'll get better, but I can't promise you that I'll do everything I can. I'll give it my hardest. That's the best I can do. For a moment she didn't say anything, just looked at me. That's good enough for me. Suddenly, warm, bright light surrounded her. It wasn't like the usual eerie glow that accompanied her before. It was softer, more peaceful. I watched as she slowly faded into the light, her form dissolving into nothingness. She was gone, just like that. I then heard a groan from the bed. Mr. Maliano was waking up. He looked around, confused. Oh, doctor, what's going on? I had the strangest dream. You're fine, Mr. Maliano. Your anesthesia is wearing off. Is that so? I dreamt of my wife. She was here with me. But she's dead, doctor. Could I be hallucinating? Was that the sedatives? I felt a lump on my throat, but I smiled back at him and shook my head. As I turned to leave, Mr. Maliano's voice stopped me. Thank you for everything. I hope my wife can see how well you're all taking care of me here. Paused for a moment, glancing toward the empty space where Mrs. Maliano had been only 4 moments ago. God damn it, I can't read. I'm sure she knows. It was finally 6 a.m., the end of my first grueling night shift. I was ready to head home, barely able to keep my eyes open, when I noticed a tree standing by the exit. His silhouette framed by the morning sun, almost different somehow. Yeah, he's dead. He waved me over with a faint smile. He's dead. Yo, kid, thanks for everything. Sure, I didn't do much. Yeah, but still, thanks. Okay, you sound like you're saying goodbye. There's still more shifts in the future. Nah, you won't see me again after today. Take care of yourself, alright? Before I could ask what he meant, he gave me a final wave, stepping into the sunlight. And then, just like that, he was gone. No footsteps fading, no doors closing, just gone. I stood there, my mind spinning. Had I imagined it? The night had been long, sure, but this felt strange. Everything can wait later. For now, bed. So I collapsed onto my couch, still thinking about Citria's strange words. I mindlessly scrolled through my phone. That's when I saw it. Citria Dominic, medical resident, dies in a single motorcycle accident at 7 p.m. last night. Wait a minute. But we were working together at 9 p.m., weren't we? He was still alive then, right? Scroll through the comments, heart pounding. People were mourning him, talking about how kind he was, etc. But if he died last night, then who was with me on the shift? Ooh, spooky. A chill crept up my spine as I replayed our final conversation in my mind. His calm words, the way he disappeared into the sunlight. Was it real? Had I just worked an entire shift with Citria's ghost? I leaned back and closed my eyes, whispering a solemn prayer for Citria, for his peace and his journey wherever it was now taking him. Citria worked so hard only to be lost to the very grind he had struggled against. I sighed, staring out into the early morning light, unsure of what the future would bring. I wondered if I would ended up like him. One thing was certain, though, I would never forget him. And I would never forget this odd night shift at the ICU. Normal ending? Selfie epilogue? Alright. I had a dream right after the night shift. Mrs. Selby was standing in front of me. She looked just like as she did in life, but there was a glow about her that made her seem almost ethereal. Doctor, thank you for trying your best, for tending to me until I died. Oh, Mrs. Selby, I wish I could have done more. You did more than you know, but there's something I need you to do for me. Please tell my children and grandchildren that I love them. I was afraid they would forget me. They've been so busy with their lives, and I never wanted to be a burden to them. Give them that picture you took. I promise. Thank you, Doctor. I quickly went to the hospital and rushed to the dimly lit morgue. Mrs. Selby's family must have been called by now. I caught sight of two figures huddled together in the corner. They must be Mrs. Selby's children. I'm Leah, the ICU doctor who took care of your mom. We came as soon as we heard the news. We didn't know that she had passed. I'm sorry for your loss. She wanted me to give you this. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the crumpled picture I had found. A photo of a younger Mrs. Selby with her children. The older sibling took it, eyes welling with tears. Can't believe we missed our chance to say goodbye. We didn't even know she was sick. She was always said she was fine. We thought we had more time. I should have called more often. I should have just flown back no matter what. They both began to sob quietly. My throat tightened. As I watched them grieve, maybe I could convey Mrs. Selby's message to them. When she was still able, she wanted to tell you how much she loved you. She was scared of being a burden, but she never stopped caring about you. Thank you for bringing us this, Doctor. We'll make sure she's remembered. Yeah, I'm sure she'd want that. I left them to grieve their mother, struggling against the weight on my chest, which wrapped around me like a dense shroud. Mr. X epilogue. Oh, cool. I sat on my couch watching TV. It had been a few weeks since Mr. X, or Ganendra, had been released from the hospital. The news had reported his imprisonment for drug trafficking, and I've never heard about him since. There you go. Wait, what's this? The tragic development, Ganendra was found dead in his prison cell earlier today. Cause of death is currently unknown, but sources say there was a woman's handprint around his neck when his body was discovered. Oh, okay. Felt a chill right down my spine. Fatima. Has she truly claimed him in the end? The screen displayed a photo of Mr. X alongside a beautiful woman. The anchor continued, detailing how Ganendra's fall from grace had shocked the community. People once admired him as a successful CEO, and no one knew how he became a drug addict. So he had made choices that led him down his path. It was hard to pity someone who hurt his girlfriend for wealth. Did Fatima find him at last, reclaiming what she had lost, or was it a manifestation of his guilt? Guess I would never know. Joko epilogue? Oh, cool. Mr. Jaco Moyano returned to the hospital for his follow-up and, after his appointment, came over to me in the hallway. He was holding a beautifully decorated music box. Dr. Elia, I just wanted to thank you for everything. My wife, she loved this music box. It was her favorite, and I'd like to give it to you. Mr. Moyano, I really don't know what to say. He smiled gently, holding out the box. It's fine, Doctor. She always said it brought her peace. I think she wants someone like you to take care of it. I don't have any children to pass it to anyway. Carefully took the music box from him. I'll treasure it, I promise. You know, when I first met her, I never imagined how much she changed my life. We didn't have children, but we had each other. That's enough for me. I hope one day you find someone who loves you as much as she loved me. His words hung in the air, and I felt a lump in my throat. Thank you. He gave me one last smile before turning to leave. As I stood there with the music box in my hands, I could feel all the memories it held. It made me think about the kind of life I wanted to build too. That's it. Let's see. Extras. I'm missing one more. Who is the other person here? Done with Mr. X, done with done with one of something. I wonder. One oh wait. Oh, 104. Oh, pressed the button for 103, not knowing what response I should have expected. Oddly enough, I was met with a soft wrench crying of a young woman. Satria, can you come over? I think we need to check this out. Satria shuffles over, a lazy smirk on his face that dropped the moment he heard the sobs echoing through the intercom. Oh, creepy. Can we check the room together? Or maybe we don't have to. But what if someone really needs our help? Fine. Surya shot back, rolling his eyes, and followed me regardless. As we approached the door, the crying intensified. I felt a tightening in my chest, but curiosity pulled me forward. I hesitated, my hand hovering over the doorknob as the crying suddenly stopped. Did you hear that? Yeah, but whatever it is, it's gone now. Are you sure? Yeah. Anyway, on 3. Yep. With a deep breath, we pushed the door open. I swore the room looked different just now. I scanned the room, half expecting to find someone curled up in the corner, but instead it was eerily empty. There was no crying, no sign of distress, just the sterile smell of antiseptic and the dim glow of the overhead lights. I glanced at Satria, who looked like a deer in headlights. Where's the crying coming from? Like I said, it's gone. Come on, let's head back. Maybe you need a rest. As we stood there, I couldn't help but feel that something was very, very wrong. The crying had stopped, but I didn't think it was over. It was just the beginning of our shift. Anywhere else? Let's see, 106, why not? Great, another empty room. Just let it be, it's not worth it. My heart raced as I pressed the intercom, hoping to hear something, but only silence answered me. Hello? No response, just an eerie silence again. Finally go to the entry room, reaching to the doorknob. For the doorknob, an icy breeze brushed past me. Pushing the door, oh hello there. Don't just do that, man. Curiouser. Do you want to play? Okay, nope, not doing this. I bolted down the hall as fast as my legs could go, the sound of her laughter hot in my pursuit. Whatever was haunting this place felt hungry, searching for something or someone. Oh gosh, she's not after me, isn't she? I rounded the corner in a full sprint, heart pounding, when I slammed straight into Satria, nearly knocking both of us over. Whoa, hey, no running the hallways unless it's an emergency. Satria, there was something in the empty room. A woman, or I don't even know, but she was there, I swear. Oh, really? There was something off about him. Satria? His smile was too stiff. His eyes were darker than usual, in a way that didn't belong in the light. Uh-oh. His smile didn't reach his eyes, and for a moment I could swear the hallway lights dimmed around him. You saw her too, didn't you? Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. What does it matter? I didn't know what terrified me more, what I saw in that empty room or the strange ways Atreya was acting. Something wasn't right. Maybe you should get back to work, Leia. Things get strange around here after midnight. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I walked towards the nurse station again, not sure if I was more afraid of the ghost or of Satria at that moment. Why is the nurse station so dark? I was relieved to see the nurse standing there, eyes glued on the monitor. Hey, you won't believe what I just saw. The empty rooms, best you ignore it. So you knew? I know that this hospital's been here since the Dutch colonial times. Back then it was a military infirmary. There was a widow who lost her husband during the war. People say she never left, still wandering the halls looking for him. Oh. Yeah, if you keep entertaining her, she'll take a liking to you, you know? And not the let's grab coffee kinda like, more like haunt you forever like. Great, just what I needed. Oh, it's behind me. Shit. Suddenly, every shadow in the corner felt like it was watching me. I might have made a very big mistake. 108, 101, and 103. I grew up 108, it was Mr. X. 101, Angela. 103, empty. 105, go. There to come buzz again, with no one answering again. My heart raced as I reluctantly made my way toward the empty room. I remember what the nurse said, but curiosity got the best of me. When I pushed the door open, I was taken aback. What the hell? The ghost woman stood there looking strangely serene, dressed in a beautiful, kebaya that flowed like some smoke around her. Ah, so you've come. My name is Gendis. You're quite the odd one, aren't you? I'm Leah. Are you a ghost? She laughed, a sound that sent chills down my spine. Obviously. Most people would run away from what they see, but you linger. You're curious, perhaps a bit too curious for your own good. Why do you keep ringing the bell? What do you want from me? I want nothing from you, dear. I'm just trolling you. Before I could respond, the air grew heavy, and the lights flickered ominously. My instincts screamed at me to run, but my legs were glued to the floor. You're not supposed to be here during this night shift. Neither is your friend. This place is a threshold. It's an in-between. The ICU holds souls teetering between life and death, and sometimes they choose to stay. There you go. Stay. Do you mean I'm dead? No, which is why you're not supposed to be here. Your shift is tomorrow. What? The souls linger here, caught in their regrets and sorrows. They can become restless, searching for closure. And I am here watching over them, watching over you. Satri is your friend, but he is too drawn to this darkness. Girl, you feel deeply, more than the others. Maybe that's why you're here now. The weight of sorrow clings to you. I've seen it, and I've seen how it affects those who wander here. You must remember that not all souls are benevolent. Some may wish to pull you down with them. With that, as she turned away, her figure slowly dissipating into the shadows, leaving me alone. Leah. Oh, it's just you, Satria. I turned around, startled to find Satria standing behind me. I just talked to a ghost named Gendis. She told me I'm not supposed to be on the shift. I mixed it up somehow. Crazy, right? Yeah, your shift is supposed to be tomorrow. Then... Satria's expression darkened as his head began to twitch erratically. Tonight we're walking a line between reality and something far more dangerous. I think she was just trying to warn you. Warn me? From what? Satria smiled at me, a sad, warm smile that ironically sent a chill down my spine. But as I stepped back, the warmth faded. His figure began to shift and distort, revealing bloodied skin, battered limbs, and bruises that painted a horrific picture. Could see the ribs poking out from his emaciated frame, the once comforting presence now a grotesque vision. Satria, what's happening there? It's an accident. Go home, this is not your place. You belong with the living. As the reality of his words sank in, the world around me began to spin. My vision blurred and the room darkened. The last thing I saw was the haunting look on his face before everything faded to black. I passed out. The next day I found myself in the familiar chaos of the hospital, the bright lights flickering above me as I made my way to my actual shift. My mind was still reeling from the events of the night before, questioning whether it had been a nightmare or something much darker. As I walked past the nurse's station, I spotted the nurse from yesterday. She looked up and offered a sympathetic smile. "Oh, hey, sorry for your loss." "Excuse me?" "Haven't you heard? One of the senior residents passed away. We're running on a skeleton crew today because there's a funeral happening." "Funeral? Well, what was his name? Satria?" My heart raced as I processed the nurse's words. Satria's funeral? No, that couldn't be right. I was sure I had just seen him last night. We were working on the shift together. Huh? But he never made it here. He was in a bad accident before going to his shift. No, I spoke to him. He was... The words caught in my throat and the room around me began to spin. My mind raced back to the night before, to the vision of Satria bloodied and bruised, warning me to leave while I still could. Had I truly been awake? Oh look, someone's behind me again. For a brief moment, I thought I saw Genda standing in the doorway. I blinked hard and she was gone. Hey, what's wrong? Nothing. Hey. Take a deep breath, new resident. It's your first shift. You're under a lot of stress. Yeah, maybe that's what this is. Stress. As the weeks passed, I struggled with the news of Tatria's death. It felt surreal, like a bad dream I couldn't wake up from. Wish I could have asked him what happened during that last shift. Focused on my work as a doctor, and each day I reminded myself of Gendis' words to care and feel deeply. Even though I never saw Gendis or Satria again, I felt their spirit in the small moments when a patient smiled or a family member said thank you. It reminded me of why I chose this path in the first place. I often looked out the window hoping to understand what happened that night, but I realized I needed to let it go. Maybe I just needed to finish this shift one last time. Again, this special ending. Okay, let's see. Oh, there's another here? What am I missing? Done with you. I'm done with you. What other thing am I missing here? What is the other ending here? I don't understand. What is the other ending here, man? What is the other? I'm confused. I want to see what the other ending is. Huh. Is somebody supposed to die? But then who could it be? This is Mr. X. Mr. X survived, but I don't get it. I don't get it. What am I? Should I look for a walkthrough or something? Maybe. Is there a walkthrough in this game? No, it doesn't have a walkthrough. Nope. I really. I mean, it's cool and stuff, but if it's gonna waste my time like it does, what was the previous games? 7 days before Halloween, I'd rather not waste my time on this game. So this is Intensive Scare Unit. If you want to try the game for yourselves, the links are in the description. That is all for today. Where the fuck is the save option? Stay safe and take care of yourselves.